Welcome to another episode of Redesigning Your Relationships Live. I am your host, Giovanna Burgess-White, with my co-host.
Yvette Faltenegro. Hello, everyone.
And welcome. I can't believe, it's June. Whew, June
No.
1st. Welcome to summer. In Texas, it's been feeling like summer for the past month. And we are on, I don't want to say part 3, but I feel like it's a part 3 series of redesigning and creating the marriage that you deserve and desire. It is, our favorite topic, I think. I mean, it's our favorite coaching topic. We love coaching women in this field, and we just wanted to talk a little bit more about it. If you missed the last 2 episodes, go back. They're amazing. We started with rediscovering and recovering after divorce. So if you know someone or are someone that is going through a divorce or after a divorce, go back and listen to that episode. And for all my amazing entrepreneurs, small business owners, women with side hustles, we did rebalance your relationship with your business last week. And so this week, we really just want to talk about your marriage. Most of you guys are on summer break, are about to be on summer break. We know it gets crazy. We kind of like lose ourselves, but we want to talk about marriages, and we'll throw out the stats. We'll talk about, the real and raw facts. And then we'll just kind of talk about what it is that we do with our clients and how we can help you. And if you're listening or watching, how you can kind of get in contact with us and start the process of redesigning the marriage that you desire and deserve.
Yes.
So
as always, during these, whether it's live or listening later on all of our platforms, please send us your comments, ask questions. We will get to them. We love feedback. So please be involved. We're here for you, and give us any things that you might want to listen to in the future.
Yep.
We're definitely here for you.
Yes, I love that. So let's get started with the facts. Where we are right now with divorce and why we want to help women in their marriages. And then we'll also talk a little bit about why we only work with women. This actually came up in conversation last week. I was doing a wedding in Cincinnati, and it was fun to talk to couples about what it is that we both do. But it was like almost like they were baffled. They were like, wait, so you only work with women? Like, what about us? And so kind of explain the process. And I mean, both the couples are like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, it seems like that's the way to go but people that have been in therapy or counseling or have just had a really hard time trying to do things together. It's almost like taking the individuals apart and working on yourself. So I think it's great to talk about that, but it was kind of fun to see the reaction and then like having to explain the process and it making sense. Like, I'm like, oh, hey, we're not crazy people. We obviously know what we're doing.
Yep.
So right now, divorce rates at 52%.
Crazy.
And we talked about couples that have been in marriages of 15 years or more are really what we're seeing. And so I think it's really important to talk about what we do and kind of explain again the process of what redesigning your marriage looks like, redesigning, creating, recreating, however it is you want. But it really starts back with you, with yourself, and what is it you really, really want, and having clarity around what your goal is around your marriage. And I think that's where we can kind of get started, and where most women don't even know. Like, we'll ask that question and they're like, I have no idea.
No, not at all. Okay, well, 52%, if you think about, because, someone's going to give the argument, it's anywhere between 45 and 52%. It is what it is. That's not a good, I don't care if you say 45 or 52, it's still not a good stat. And it hasn't gone away.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not like it's getting better. So there's got to be, we all can hit our heads on the walls 5 million times over and over and over. But if you're getting the same results from doing the same things, and I do mean nationwide, worldwide, and our particular society here in the United States, I mean, divorce is like huge compared to other countries. So if we're not doing something right, then this obviously lends the opportunity for looking at things from a different perspective. And I think that's why when we do talk to people and they do say, wait, what? Because it is a different way, because everything you just said. Mainly, we love working with women because women in general, I'm not going to say all women, but women in general get very self-focused. We tend to have a nurturing side to us, and we think about other people, and we just see things in different ways, and we want to make sure all those categories are taken care of. And the last category we think about is ourselves. So then when you're in a relationship with someone and you're not thinking about yourself, and they're doing their own thing and they're not really necessarily thinking about you and you're not really thinking about them, and then all of a sudden years later, boom, things happen. And like we always say, first 1 to 3 years is tough because it's your first 3 years of being married. Then those years 7 to 10, and that's kind of, if you think about it, then it's like, okay, you did the kid thing, you're all focused on that, and they seem to get older, and then that's the next boom. You go, what are we doing? Everyone's out of diapers, but now we have to really look at each other. And then the next huge category, which would be my age group, are the people that are like 45 to 55, 60, that now the kids are out of the house.
Yep.
And they look back those 25, 30 years and go, where are we?
Yep.
Where are we? The coolest thing, and you and I will say this over and over and over, that's why it's called redesigning, is because at that point, any point along the map journey of life, you absolutely 100% have the availability to redesign, recreate whatever it is that you want.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's where it full picture. Everyone's like, what is it you do? What do you guys do? Full picture, we really go through self-transformation with women and creating those goals, understanding, kind of restructuring the brain, the paradigm, the mindset, whatever you want to call that, and reprogramming the mind to start with yourself first. We always put ourselves last. And no matter what season you are, we'll talk about this in every single one of our podcasts, no matter what season, no matter if you have kids, if you just got married, if you've been married for 10 years, it doesn't matter. It's almost like you get to pause life and then work on yourself, reprogram your mind, and really write down, start to focus on what it is that you really want, not the family, not your spouse, not your job, you. And it takes time. This is why it's a process. And then from there, that's why I explain to people, everything starts to change. It's a domino effect. The relationship with your spouse, the relationship with your children, the relationship, just your life in general starts to change. And that's why we only work with the women. And the other thing that's extremely important that you have to understand is we don't talk about the past. We don't talk about circumstances. We don't talk about situations. We leave that out. Like, it's completely out the door. We don't even bring it up. That's what therapists are for. And we talk about the now, the present, and then the future. And I think that right there is just the mindset, the paradigm, the now, the future. It triggers something inside of us, in our soul, that it's like, okay, I was never taught that. I never knew that that's what it was supposed to be. And then you work on yourself. You give yourself the time. You're giving yourself the grace. You're starting to understand what it is that you really want, and your spouse follows. That's truly redesigning and creating the marriage that you deserve. You deserve. It has nothing to do with everyone else. But it's I would say, with all of our clients, one of the hardest things to do, because it's like, whoa, like, what do you mean, me?
Yep. I always, when I sit here and I listen to us talk, I feel like I'm listening with one ear as far as like what we're talking about, and then I feel like I'm listening with another ear, one with people who are listening to us or watching us, whichever your viewing pleasure or listening pleasure is. And I always think, okay, so someone starts listening to all that and they go, yeah, that's not that easy. That's hard. You don't understand my circumstances, where I'm coming from, or whatever. We do understand, for one. And secondly, we also understand probably one of the hardest, whether someone's to say it's a paradigm, a mind shift, mindset, whatever it is, there is such a huge, huge gap for all of us between where we are and where we want to be, and then the how. Because let's just face it, if it was that easy, then the health or self-help books I read, the ones that you read, back in the day, and you had your little cassette player and you're listening to things, or however we used to do it, all those, why did it not quote unquote work? Or why did it make us feel better for just a moment? But then all of a sudden we went backwards again of, okay, that was good, but that helped me a little bit, but it didn't stay. And so that huge gap of what's really going on is truly like it's almost like this cave or cavern or whatever. It's like, you may not know, and when I say you, I mean listening people may not know what's in that cave. They may not know how to bridge that gap. They may not even know the materials to how to bridge the gap, but that's where we really come in to show them How? Because so much of it is an attitude and action,
Yep.
which I always found was the missing piece. And my favorite part of it, I'm such an action moving forward person. It's like, you can dream, oh my God, I want to build this house. Da, 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 da. Okay, great, dream all you want, but you still got to go to Lowe's and get some lumber and get a hammer and put some, muscle to what you're really wanting. Same
Yep.
thing with your relationship.
Yeah. And I think too, going back to, it's already hard enough to a just sit down and write and figure out what it is, like dream and figure out what it is that you really want, then putting it into action. As coaches, a lot of people ask, like, what's the difference between a coach and a therapist? Huge differences. Not only that we're just talking about now and the future, but we're like teachers. Sometimes we teach, sometimes we guide, and then we're also helping you with that action plan. We take you through the way, and kind of hold you accountable, but at the same time, we don't take clients that aren't willing to put in the work, and it is time to put in the work. And I think that's where people are like, oh, I did the books and I go to therapy, but it's like pointing the finger back to the partner, to the spouse, not wanting to take the accountability of like, I need to make these changes first. It's almost like you have to lead by example in order for my spouse to understand what it is that I'm needing or wanting, in order to be able to have those dreams and goals together. And then everything falls into place. And most people, men and women, don't want to do the work. They're like, oh, it's all great. Let's talk about it, but I don't want to be about it. And so that's also, the difference between us and therapists, and also why it's a 6 month and sometimes longer journey than that. Because there's different areas that we focus on. Obviously, every single one of our clients is different, but we assess the marriage as a whole, and we assess what they want as the woman in the marriage. And if it's communication, I mean, all always stems from communication, from money and finances, and sex and intimacy. And then obviously we have other things that we talk about, but it's understanding those areas, those key areas, what your focus is, and then who do you want to be in that marriage? How are you going to become the woman in that marriage along the way? And are you willing to do the work? And I think that's where not only do we get stuck in what is it do we want, are we willing to take the time and put in the work and know that it's not overnight? We all want everything to happen, like, we want it to get fixed. You've been married for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, but you want it to be like, well, I want to see a difference next month. Well, that's not how anything in life works.
It takes a month to get there. It's not going to take a month to get it. I call and I often refer to life as junior high. I don't know why. Maybe I just got stuck in junior high. There's junior high good, like puppy love, like you're like, oh, I feel like we're in junior high again. This is so great and amazing. And there's also junior high thinking when it comes to blame shifting, not taking responsibility. And it is so much easier to blame someone else for something that you had a part in, or that really, if you're just in that breathing space, you're part of it. But it's so much easier to blame someone else than to take that responsibility of what can I do to make this better. And I feel like, especially our society, our culture just stems from someone else's problem, or they did it, or again, blame shifting on the other person instead of just going, no, I regardless of what they ever say, think, feel, do, I still have to be responsible for myself. I think that is one of the hardest things to learn, but it's also one of the most enjoyable things to experience once you, and not that anyone's doing it perfectly, but that once you really start to grow in that area of, it's not about the other people, it's about me.
Yeah.
And me in a positive way, not me in a, oh, this, that. No. I mean, that's why I said attitude and mindsets and all that kind of stuff that plays a part. But I just think that we default because we've just naturally been trained through the years to like, we'll just blame the other person. It's easier.
Yeah. And I think we talk about this all the time. It blows my mind how we put so many expectations on our marriage, and we expect the results to happen so quickly. But let's, like, in anything in life, you go to school, you go to college, you get the degree, you have to take the time and put in the work and study. Even if you have a corporate job, same thing, you do the training, you have to, do certain steps to get to the next level, to get to the next promotion. If you're an entrepreneur, it's like there's all of these processes and systems and learnings, and it's like, but nobody wants to do that in their marriage with the person that they made a vow to. Even if you're not married, the person that you're with, you guys made a decision to be together, yet you don't want to put in the work. And it's like, oh, well, we're going to settle, or it's already been like this. And it's like, okay, so if it took you a year, if it took you 5 years to know that the rest of your life is going to be, and you're going to have the most exciting marriage, like you wake up in the morning, and I'm going to sound me every morning, but you wake up and you're just like, you're happy to be with that person every single day. Would you do the work? I
Mhm.
mean, it just would you. But we're gonna do it for everything else. And for those of us who have children, it blows my mind on all the things that we do and the time that we spend on them, or on our businesses or at our corporate job, whatever it is that you do, but you don't want to spend the time with your partner. And that's for yourself, really, to give back to your partner for all of that to fall into place. And that's another, conversation that we have to have with our clients. It's like, we don't know your timeline, but we do know if you do the work, that the person that you want to become and the marriage that you want to have, or the relationship that you want to have with your partner, will happen. Are you willing to put in the work? And are you willing to really have those moments where you're like, well, yeah, you know what? It is me. I need to stop blaming the situations, the circumstances. We all have that. We got to let that go. And we got to be able to say, hey, it's time to put the big girl panties on and say, it's time to do. And it's time to be that woman so that I can have a happy and successful life in marriage. That's it. It really, I mean, I know it seems like, oh, it seems so simple. Well, but it takes time. And are you willing to put in that time? You're going to have to sacrifice some things here and there, but that's with anything.
Yeah. Well, we said this recently that we don't put value on ourselves. We don't put value on our relationships, but that value of growth and maturity and change and being the best version of yourself, that's really priceless. You can't put a value on what does it feel like for me to wake up every single day and just be happy. Like, and when I say happy, I don't mean like, oh, there's puppies all over my feet. And no, I just mean like a contentness beyond content, a
Right.
vibrance, a
Just
like,
talk about gratitude. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, it's just the way in which I wake up every day is so different. I can't put a value on that. And then how it affects the people around me, you can't put a value on it. However, I'll tell you what, the destruction that comes with divorce or not appreciating yourself as a human being is much greater in a loss. It's huge. So it's like, if you have a choice and you're like, okay, do I want to put that value, whatever it's going to take? And let's just say it this way, any of our programs, anything that we do, anything that we give of ourselves, whatever, that is so much, is, if you want to say value or less expensive, however you want to say that, then the damage, destitute, and the deficit that you have with a divorce. Any day, hands down, especially if you have children,
Yep.
families, there's no comparison. So then it becomes, why would you not be willing to make something so much greater than suffering in something that can be so destructive?
Yeah.
And then the bottom line is, even if it doesn't go the way you think, the universe, we don't know, we're not controlling it. Why not take the chance?
Right.
Why not take the chance for something amazing than just sit around doing nothing for the inevitable, something disastrous?
Yep. I'm going to do mic drop for both of us, because I feel like that's a great way to wrap it up. And again, in any place that you come work with us, if it's if it's your business, if it's recovery after divorce, or if it's redesigning your marriage, it's the same framework, it's the same concepts, it's the same work that you have to put in to yourself. It all goes back to the same thing. You have to have a vision, you have to have clarity, you have to be willing to change your paradigm, to change your mindset, and start doing you. That's what it is. And it's hard, but we're here to teach you the way. We're here to show you the process. We're here to really help you redesign your life. We get to do that. We are the only being on this planet that can actually just pause and say, you know what? It's time for me to regroup and figure this all out. Everybody around you, everybody, friends, family, work, coworkers, probably even your pets, they're going to know. They're going to feel that shift. It is. It's the truth. That it's like, it's time. And it's time to do you, boo. And if you're listening to us, you're watching us, and you're just ready to redesign that marriage, or create the marriage you always wanted, we're here to tell you you can do it. And we're here to help you along the way. So easy enough. If you're listening, you can go back and in our show notes, you can book a virtual consultation with us. It's totally complimentary. We send an amazing assessment out to you to get to know you better and see what your goals are. If you're like, I have no idea what that is, no worries. We help you with that as well. And if you're watching on our social media platforms, you can also just click in the bios, the link in the bios, you can get to us. And for everybody that's been with us through the past 4 years, from engaged couples to our married couples to all of our entrepreneurs, we always thank you. Please make sure you like, comment, share, and like Yvette said, whatever platform you're listening or watching on, let us know what you want, because we are here for you every single week. We do have some amazing guests on our podcast in the next couple of months, so I'm excited to have them on. And then if you are local in Houston, check out our calendar of events, because we are rocking and rolling all summer. We are not stopping. We are not pausing. We are not losing our work momentum. We're actually, I feel like we're doing way more this summer. So check out our workshops. We have some collabs coming up as well, and see what fits into your schedule, because we want to help you redesign the relationships in your life. We'll see you next week.
All right,
Bye.
bye.